more machines touching them. Going up the scrubs, and that's the end of our process. And however, is it really the end of the process? And so here's the patient being, or the linen being used by the patient in the hospital. Even though this is a talk about laundry processes, one thing that I just want to add, we need to keep this stuff clean, not only in the laundry, we need to keep it clean on the trucks, we need to keep it clean on the actual linen room in the hospital, in the linen closet, and actually in the linen room, or in the patient room of the patient, for this little guy here to be safe and for all this stuff to be clean for him. So fundamentally, the question that we're asking is, how do we prove what we do in the laundry to validate to the hospitals that our linen processing meets their requirements? And the answer to that question is process monitoring. So I've given kind of a high level of the laundry process and some scenarios there. I'm not a science expert, so let's dig a little bit deeper. And I'm going to turn it over to Michael, who is a science expert. He's going to give some of the science behind process monitoring.
Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. As Greg was saying, there's all sorts of sources of microcontamination, and I think it's helpful to consider your laundry as a manufacturing process. The clean linen is your finished product, either that you're making or that you're purchasing if you're a hospital person. So there's many sources of microcontamination. Diagram at the bottom, there's a version of that that's used in most industries, whether it's the food industry, the drug industry, specialty chemicals. It's just a way to think about what are all of the inputs to my process. It could be a source of microcontamination. And as Greg was saying, it's one thing to make something clean, but then it's another thing to keep it clean throughout the process. So it's important to remember that microorganisms are ubiquitous. That means they're present everywhere at once. They're in the air, they're on surfaces, they're on people, obviously, they're in water, they're everywhere. And what's more, laundry facilities are not designed to be sterile. So there's not any special design controls to keep microorganisms, to keep you free of microorganisms. You may have processes in place to keep the microorganism level low. That's by design, but how do we make sure that that's being affected? There is essentially no environment where microorganisms cannot exist. So I know it might be tempting to think that, well, I've got a whole bunch of chemicals in my laundry process. Nothing can survive that. It's a dangerous thing to think. Oh, I'm putting it through a really hot drying process. Nothing can survive that. That's a dangerous thing to think. Much better to think of the air, the water, the surfaces, your people as ingredients into your finished product, all of which could be contributing microcontamination to your finished product, the clean linen, and want to have control over all of those processes so that you can feel confident that you're maintaining high microbial integrity throughout. Some people might think, well, I'll test the finished product. I'll test my clean linen at the end to show that it's free from microcontamination. That certainly can be part of your process and probably a good thing to do, but there is no process testing team on the planet that is going to be statistically significant, right? You laundry folks could tell me, I'm not sure how many pieces of laundry you're cleaning at any given time, but it's a lot. It's a very scientific term. We know it's a lot. You can't test it all. So it's really important to make sure that all of your processes are monitored. All of your sources of microcontamination are being monitored to make sure that they're staying in control. not sterile, but they're staying in control. And then you can be sure that,
Green
that you have a system of high microintegrity.
Lily Green,
So
Lily
you
USB
monitor the
testicle
process to give confidence that your finished product is going to be safe for the end consumer. Greg, you can go to the next one, thank you. So as I said, the goal here is not to be sterile, but it's to maintain a system or systems to keep an environment of high microbial integrity. But how do I make sure that the procedures that I put in place are effective? Well, I should monitor those systems and look for microcontamination and see if it's what I expect it to be. So like I said, one of the main ingredients, if you want to think of it as such, is